The Accenture B-School Challenge got underway in Gurgaon. This was the third annual B-School Challenge where the best minds from India's top B-schools had to prove their mettle by providing solutions to a stimulating case study. Taking into account the digital disruption facing businesses across industries all over the globe, this year's theme was Strategy for a Digital Future. Apart from this, Accenture also organized a power-packed panel discussion on the same theme.
Great, so as we're talking about strategy for a digital future, Sanjay, I'll start with you. They say change is the only constant. So how is today different from, let's say, 5 or 10 years ago?
So I'd say it's predominantly two things. If you look at technology, the first and probably the most significant change is the cost of technology. And it's come down extremely rapidly. So, just to take an example, if you look at genome sequencing and editing, what probably was costing billions of dollars when it was first done, today you can get a sequencing done for $1,000. The second thing I'd say is the speed of change.
Okay.
And if you just look at it from last year, even in an organization like ours, the number of bots we are using in our own internal operations has gone up very, very significantly. So I'd say cost
and speed of change. But Ganesh, I want to get you in on this. So besides these two, cost and speed of change, what are your thoughts? Is there something else that is getting more and more people to, businesses to adopt technologies quicker?
It is about the art of possible. It is not that the requirements were not there earlier, but the ability to do it in an affordable way, in a faster way, was missing.
All right.
So it is the latent demand which is getting fulfilled. And you need a combinatorial of technologies to make it happen. So I would say that every company, one system is gone, it's a passe. You need an ecosystem of best of breed softwares, digital technologies coming together to develop a use case, to address a demand.
And then I want to get you in on this point. Talk to me a little bit about Accenture's role in this full technology revolution. Shed some more light on this. How are you being on top of your game to ensure that your clients are on top of their game?
I think a couple of things that have happened over the last 4 or 5 years. One, very clearly, we were able to recognize this coming, correct? And we also had the sense to figure out that we could not do it all by ourselves, correct? And as a part of that, we did a couple of things. One was key up our investment game, where we made significant acquisitions in terms of specific skills, in terms of specific technologies that we wanted to bring in to add on to what we had. The other thing was really around creating an ecosystem. And we have been pretty good at it. I'm not just talking of the cloud providers or the application service providers or application guys, but coming out with this entire open innovation platform where working with startups, working with people who are into these new disruptive technologies, trying to gauge where it will lead, take a punt, and be involved. That has helped. And finally, what most organizations struggle with is to be able to put a structure to this madness.
Okay.
Correct? We have been some bit of hit and trial, but we have been able to establish a structure which is extremely responsive and innovative to the emerging needs of a client or an industry. It starts from Accenture research on one extreme of the spectrum, where the thing that the guys are sitting and doing is really looking out at the trends and saying, what's going to happen next, correct? Then moving into Accenture Ventures, which is the only role is to take up those trends and see what is happening in the marketplace, which guy will make it there, correct? Then bringing it into our innovation labs, correct? And trying to build upon that. Then taking it into our centers of excellence, trying to scale it up. And then finally taking it up to our delivery centers where we can actually scale it up for our clients.
Sanjeev, I want to just take on from what Anandya said. Very interesting word he used in the middle. He said madness, to put some structure to the madness. Your thoughts on this disruption? Because in a way, you don't know where the next disruption is going to come from, which is the next company going to disrupt. So it's no longer that you're Maruti Suzuki, it's not necessary that an automobile manufacturer will come up with this radically different product that will disrupt the market. Now it can come from anywhere. We were talking about driverless cars, and just your thoughts on how companies, organizations need to be agile enough to be able to expect this disruption and handle it.
Coming to the industry perspective, disruption can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Driverless cars coming out from Google or from Apple, they're testing it. But is that the future? You never know. Tesla was not known many years ago. Today, Tesla is one of the key contenders into the driverless cars maybe in the future. But then the technology also is changing within a simple thing, in a car. Today, I think the biggest change in cars really has been 100 years ago when the cars came out, it used to be how many kilometers to a gallon. Today, they're saying how much can I stretch that letter? Or like we say in Maruti, kitna deti hai?
Yeah.
And that's the big challenge to us. Now, that is very simple to ask from a consumer. So frugality in driving is becoming an essential norm. People are talking at one time, 10 kilometers to a liter was like, wow. Today they're saying 30, can you do it better? So that's the challenge being thrown at us from the industry.
So, Arvind, getting in you on the consumer perspective, so what Sanjeev also said, the consumer in a way is there to challenge businesses. How do you tackle that consumer? And more thoughts is, how do you communicate with that consumer? You know, advertising has changed. What was a newspaper, now it's digital. Your thoughts on that?
So I think two great things are happening for consumer. I think this is heavenly for consumers. Consumers want easy life, easy products, and the worst thing is they don't want to pay for it. So now digital is changing the way people live, and it's also helping them to save boatload of money. Right. So I think it's changing the way people live, think, etc.
Yeah, just to add a very interesting thing which he said, it's a science happening behind. So every time somebody clicks onto something and he searches, there's a problematic thing happening. Again, system is taking over, what you were asking for. And there's a bidding, like you rightly said, bidding is happening to get the consumer. Because we know the consumer is searching online before he goes offline.
Just to add in there, I think this leads you straight into omni-channel. So, today brick and mortar companies also need to be prepared and need to ensure that when their customers go online, and whatever they're doing online, that information is flowing back to them so that they can have a consistent experience irrespective of the form of engagement.
Yes.
So digital enables this.
Very true. Parag, I want to get you on this point. This is really interesting what you said about omni-channel. So whether I'm, and to put it simply, it's about whether I'm watching something on my mobile phone, or it's on my laptop, or now it's on my smart TV, I get the same experience. Parag, let's put that to the workplace. So you have a new generation of people coming into the workplace who will be comfortable with X brand of mobiles or X brand of laptops. How are you at HR ensuring that the workplace is comfortable for these new employees, your new joinees?
Huge questions being asked about future workforce on two accounts. One is there are the millennials coming and people are saying, and there are more millennials coming. And second is the workplace itself has multi-generation workforce, right, across. So I actually think that, companies today are, completely reorienting themselves. The 2016 study actually told us 51% of respondents are actually saying that their skills are not being put to use when they join. And that's why, I think companies are seriously relooking at this, right? That are they in a position to provide a hyper-personalized work experience where an employee is able to, hone up their skills and get the right nurturing based on what their aspirations are. And I think to that effect, in Accenture, we end up providing a lot of opportunities for employees, right, who are joining us to do many such exciting gigs. So I think that's the kind of mindset, the new generation has. Okay. And that's what they're looking in terms of value proposition at work.
we're just about running out of time. I'll come starting from my right. Quickly, just last closing comments. Sanjay, if you want to add something.
Yeah, sure. I guess what I'd like to just talk about is businesses are changing. I think you cannot ignore digital. It will be at the intersection of business and technology.
Yes.
It's crucial to look both within your company, within your country, within any other entity to see what you can digitize. And it's also very important to look outside to see what you can digitalize with your customers, new business models, and even otherwise.
Okay. Ganeshan, your thoughts?
Yeah, so the whole thing, the watch, for example, has become a passe because at the minimum, your watch should speak to your mobile phone.
Yeah.
If it is not, it's a fashion accessory. The connected things become important.
Yeah.
The limitation is your ability to think what you want, the use case. So the use case will be the business driver, and then the digital technologies are growing every day, enabling you to achieve that use case. Any use case you can imagine, there is a technology available to support. So human limitation of what you can think is going to be the only limitation. The technology, ever-growing digital technology, is there to support.
Anandya, with your closing comments, I have a pointed question for you also. So Bill Gates has famously said that we overestimate the change that technology brings in 2 years while highly underestimating the change that it will bring in 10 years. So we'll stick to 2 years. What is your outlook for January 2019?
I think there are 3-4 things which we have to look out, or should happen, or would happen. One is about customer engagement, correct? Yeah. This is no longer it's a B2C kind of a scenario. It's me to B. The customer is dictating what the producer or what the business has to provide him. And it is very important for the business to know who I am. It's not enough to say I'm part of a category of people or I'm part of a set of people. And that is this entire concept of, me to be, and, and this customer engagement, to really make it happen, it cannot just be from a sales and marketing standpoint. It has to happen across the value chain.
Okay.
The number 2 point is really that new IT will continue. The pace at which it is evolving will continue. And industries, organizations, both us and our clients, will have to, really create that kind of an ecosystem to be able to recognize and bring in those technologies, because we cannot create all. The third thing is the new operating models, correct? That's where much of the innovation will come from.
All right.
And finally, if I have to imbibe all of this and be successful, I have to have an agile and nimble organization.
Very true.
Until and unless I'm ready to accept the change, and it's not good enough to take 2 years to change. Correct? By the time you've made the change, something new
will happen.
So these are the 3-4 paradigms on which I think the adoption of digital in the industries will go through.
Interesting. Sanjeev, I also have a pointed question for you. What Anandya also spoke about, with the customer wanting a me to be and customer wanting more of personalization. Are you seeing that more in your customer? I think the Vitara Brezza also allows you to customize, consumers to customize it to a larger extent than normal cars. Just your thoughts.
I don't know if you really captured, you're looking at him, but you should have seen the smile on my face, and I was totally reckoning to what Ananda was saying. But 2 things, for us as a marketer, the key thing is, and it's always a dream for any marketer, is what do consumers want?
Yeah.
It's $1 million question. And that is, today's world is changing every day. His whims, his desires, and coming to the fact that whole thing about individuality, that me to be, what you spoke about, is exactly there. Today the consumer says, if I want to have a watch, it should not, earlier times, we used to say, you have an HMT, I have an HMT. Today you say, I have a CICO, no, why can't I have a CK? So consumers are saying, I want to have my own individuality, and that's what which you touched upon, Brezza. Brezza, we've created something new called I Create, which is I is actually for the individual, I could be for technology, whatever, but the fact is that we give you the choice to customize your car. So that's part. The other thing I really wanted to say was, I think in future, there will have to be a fine balance between physical and digital, and there will have to be a space, and OROP, it's not one rank, one pay, but online research and offline purchase, consumers will find a very good balance in it. Today, at least in the automobile industry, we map the consumer journey. It's about 25 key touch points that he goes through before he buys a car. 18 out of the 25 today are digital. Tomorrow could be 20, but the 5 still remains till such time that consumers stop saying, this is a white car. I don't know why people touching the car say it's white. I can see it, but maybe the sensory things are there. So till then,
the touch is still
till the touch becomes digital. It's already happening on phones. I can see that, but it's still not giving the color. So,
Arvind, your thoughts, final thoughts on this?
So I think one thing we did not talk about, there is so much euphoria around digital and the changes that are taking place, but there is a dark side to it, right? Do I want to know, everybody to know, everything about me? And you'll be shocked to find how much companies know about me, right? And how much of that information is fed to the rest of the world. So I think there is security and privacy will become so important, and Accenture is recognizing this. We are building a security practice, etc. So just wanted to bring that there is other side of it as well.
Very important point. Parag, final thoughts from you. I was reading this interesting book called The New Industries of the Future by Alec Ross, and he spoke about exactly the new industries. So from the HR perspective, what do you think are the new industries that these guys here could be working in?
And that's what I wanted to say. We've got a lot of youngsters here who are from the top business schools. But if there's one thing I would be aspiring to do as I take on a job, right? I'll really be looking for a place to hone my intellectual curiosity, because it's your lifelong learning, right? Learning agility is skill of future. It's that lifelong learning that will hold you in good stead in times to come. And that's how you'll be shaping the future for not only all of us will be long gone, but for yourself and the generations that are about to come.
All right. Yeah, one last thought from my end is that since change is the only constant, we just have to be agile enough to accept that change and not be rigid to that. I think that will help us mold as we go ahead. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here with us.
The Accenture B-School Challenge was divided into 4 stages, where different abilities were evaluated using a unique combination of simulations, digital technologies, and gamification models. The students were asked to choose an industry and pretend that they were part of the organization. Their challenge was to provide a disruptive digital strategy to help the senior leadership of the company embark on a digital transformation journey.
I think the case study was an interesting proposition. It builds upon what we had presented in the last round. And I think this time it's really focusing on the people and change management aspect of it.
The case study which was given to us was really open-ended. Like we had the whole canvas spread out for us to think to the best of our imagination how we could implement different things in a same industry and how we can add value to the industry. So it was a great learning experience.
It's really challenging, after 48 hours of no sleeping, we're quite exhausted, but we still have the energy to go and prove ourselves to the judges over here.
Once the stage was set and the contestants were armed with their strategies, the next step was to face the jury. And the judges were ready to evaluate the challengers.
apart from the 8 options or criteria that were listed on the scoring sheet, I think primarily for me, I was looking at only 3. I was looking at the big idea, how they are presenting it creatively, and have they given some analysis as to the reasoning why that idea would be beneficial. And fourth, an option would be how they're linking digital to the entire thing. So an idea is fine, it's creative enough, it's been analyzed thoroughly, but it is digitally connected and viable. That's primarily what I was really looking for.
We're looking for how they're looking at combining technology and business, because the future is going to be digital, but finally it has to make value addition to the business. So we're trying to understand, have they been to think through that idea? how it will add value to the business, and what are the risks associated, and what are the implementation strategy for sale.
Primarily, we were looking at the uniqueness of the idea and the potential for impact that it can create, and the thought that went behind, outlining the solution scope.
After the presentations were over, the jury started their deliberation on the final outcome of the contest. On the other side, the students were evaluating their own performance and hoping for a favorable result.
So we had about 6 minutes to present, and I totally think we ran out of time because there was so much that we wanted to say. But overall it went off well, and we had some really tough questions from the jury.
Well, we put in a lot of work and we're really sure about our content and messaging. We just hope to give our best and come out on top.
It helped us understand that you should have a multitude approach, not a linear approach to one solution as such.
We are presenting our ideas in front of the leaders. They are eminent leaders, have huge experience, and we are just knives in front of them. So they appreciating our ideas, listening to them it's like a dream come true.
After much deliberation, the jury finally reached the verdict, and it was time for rewarding the winners. The second runners-up was called first to receive the honor, and it was given to Team Cal Raiders from IIM Calcutta.
We were rather surprised that we came third after the first round. And I think we're also right now just wondering how we're going to carry all that back home.
Team Bazinga from Indian School of Business was declared the first runner-up.
Well, we're most delighted and we're really happy about it. We've got some great prizes. So overall we're feeling great, we're extremely happy about it.
And the winner for the third annual Accenture B-School Challenge was Team Thug Life from IIM Kozhikode.
I think in choosing the winners, it was a difficult task because very wide spectrum of industries and solutions were touched, and it was really challenging for the jury to make comparisons. But I must say the jury was unanimous in the choice of the winning team.
So the reason we chose the winner is because they were the most consistent on all the 5 criteria that we used. The first being just the quality of the presentation. Then the analytical, the actual creative and the big picture thinking. And finally, the fact that their solution was very, very digitally sound.
We were really hoping that we would win, and obviously we had our fingers crossed. And then yes, when our names were announced, we were really extremely happy. There couldn't be any more better end to our MBA career. Couldn't be.
The third annual Accenture B-School Challenge was a huge success, and it concluded on a positive note with lots of enthusiasm, energy and fanfare.